everybody, welcome back to Pacers Daily. I'm your host, Hery Acosta. Let's get things going with something that completely has nothing to do with basketball, but I just thought it was really funny. Now, we know how a lot of fans like to get tattoos of their favorite teams or just some of the, just tattoos in general. Now, a certain fan got a hand tattoo of a Reggie Miller tattoo here, and then a Tyrese Halliburton tattoo with quotes on top of both of them. And Twitter, everybody's just thinking it's the funniest thing. And someone said it looks like Rick and Morty tattoos, which I thought that was a pretty funny comment, because it kind of did look like Rick and Morty. Now, other people are saying people will really just tattoo anything on themselves, and yeah, that is pretty true. But I just thought it was really funny because I do like, the loyalty of the fan base, but there's just some things that it's really funny because there's right here. You can find them online pretty much anywhere. You could just look. If you just look up Indiana Pacers, it's actually one of the first things that pops up, just because everyone on Twitter's talking about it. Because we've seen some fans get like tattoos of a team winning a championship before they actually win, and sometimes they're actually wrong, and it just something that you have on there that never even happened. But this one's kind of is just funny, just because both the Halley thing and the Miller thing. Unfortunately, we didn't win the championship either year, so I just thought that was pretty funny. Now on the basketball. Benedict Mathern, for the Pacers to work this year, and I've said this before, but I'm kind of going to talk about it a little bit more this time. He just needs to take one of the biggest jumps you can take, and it's the perfect time to take that jump because it is going to be, he's drafted back in 2022. He had very good rookie season. Second season was that injury that he was out the last few months. And then he just recently was in the third. Now in his fourth season, this is the perfect time for him to make that all-star jump. Whether that's finally hitting that 20-point-a-game mark, which he is more than capable of doing. He was pretty much the main piece on that bench when it came to scoring. Not overall game was pretty much McConnell and Toppin, because they were always the first ones to go in. But if we're talking about scoring and just pure domination in the paint, getting to free throw line, that's all Benny. And he's that kind of person. He gets the whistle. He has one of the best whistles on the team because he actually isn't just sitting outside the 3-point line. He does like to drive in a lot. Most of his points come from inside the arc. So that is something that we need from any player. Because it's a 3-point league. We all know Steph Curry changed the game. It is very much a 3-point league. Pretty much everyone knows how to shoot threes nowadays. Obviously, you have your traditional centers and post players that still haven't developed that 3-point game yet. But most guards, most forwards, they can shoot the three at any given point. Mathern, yes, he's a good 3-point shooter, but he still plays more in the paint. Very good mid-range guy. Loves to get in, loves to go to the free throw line. Besides one game in the finals, he's always been a decent free throw shooter. There's been games where he just kept missing everything, but there's also been games where he goes 8 for 8, 9 for 9. If we can get that second Mathern, the one that goes to the free throw line, makes all his shots, and just, keeps on driving, keeps on playing hard, Pacers have no issue. Now, last few episodes I've been talking about two players that are still on the market that could potentially be Pacers. I'm going to go a little bit out the way. Now, we have good guard depth, but these are two players that I could see kind of stepping in as like a backup. Not like really a backup to, like an actual 6-man. But more of like a third string that could get minutes. And we're going to start with Markelle Fultz, another former first overall pick that I'm talking about. This one was also a Philadelphia 76ers first overall pick. Now, Fultz is a little different than Ben Simmons. Not really in the way of, yes, they both have had injury problems, but Markelle Fultz's injury issues have been probably worse than Simmons, because when Fultz came into the league and it looked like he changed his shot motion and his free throw motion, it just looked like his shoulder was completely out of sync. All that kind of just derailed his time in Philadelphia, which he played less than 40 games in Philadelphia, if anyone actually knew that. Fultz did not suit up that much to the team he was drafted number 1 overall to. He was drafted before Lonzo, before Jason Tatum, before Donovan Mitchell, before a lot of really good players. But it's not time to give up on him. He is a good player. He's averaged 10 points a game throughout his career, around 4 assists, 3 rebounds, which obviously aren't first overall pick numbers. These are more like late first round, second round pick numbers. But he could be that minimum guy. He just finished a small stint in Sacramento after playing multiple years in Orlando. Once again, multiple injury-ridden years. If he could stay healthy, would not be a bad piece. Pick him up on a minimum, on a small contract. Just kind of see what he has. And then the next guy, I would actually be somewhat excited if we got Gary Payton II. Now he's coming off another season in Golden State. Played for 5 teams, most notably Golden State. He had a short stint in Portland, played of LA, But Gary Payton is that undrafted guy that works harder than a lot of people. And we have one of those. We have a TJ McConnell, undrafted guy that works harder than anyone. But pairing him up with the defensive stud that is Gary Payton, another guy that can shoot threes, someone that you would like on your team. For some reason, the Warriors haven't brought him back, which I think is kind of weird. But, he's still in the market. He's still a free agent. Steph Curry wants him back in Golden State. So they might continue to look to re-sign him. But, the Pacers could pick him up also on a minimum deal. A good veteran to have, has playoff experience, has won a championship. So why not? Why not pick up a guy that could completely just boost our defense off the bench, and we just have one of the best defensive lineups off the bench? So I wouldn't mind either player, especially if they're on a minimum. It's kind of time to go low risk, high reward type. That's kind of what I've been saying with Jay Huff. We barely gave up anything for Huff, and Jay Huff could end up being one of the biggest rewards off of a minimal risk that the Pacers could have gotten. And you know who else has been a low risk, high reward player? Obi Toppin. You know who else? Aaron Nesmith. Aaron Nesmith was a throw-in piece in that Malcolm Brogdon trade, and we got Obi Toppin for like a second-round pick. So the Pacers have been doing their trades pretty well. And the biggest asset we gave up for Siakam was Bruce Brown and a first-round pick, which that first-round pick wasn't even that big anyways because we made the playoffs right away. And so I just think it's time to just put a little bit of risk in it, see what can happen. If it's a low risk and nothing comes out of it, oh well, we'll see what we can do next year. But as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go, Sirs.